Okay, Debbie Beck. Debbie here. Again, Debbie, 3 minutes if you would, please.
I'm going to speak on behalf of two topics, because the first one's going to be a public and safety issue. So you can put my other one back in. I'm moving out of state. This will be hopefully my last meeting here. And I'm trying to sell my house, but guess what? The traffic on Bridgehampton is horrific. We no longer can walk. We can't drive kids to school anymore. We have to walk. That stop sign that I've walked many of you through, every morning we're doing the same thing. We've got trucks and things, and just they're double parking all the way down Davenport. Kids are darting in and out. What is it going to take for you guys to maybe police this? Now, I've talked to Mr. Tremblay, I've talked to Sean, I've talked to Susan about it. You know, I was a big opponent of Oakmont in the first place. When we packed this chamber with 600 and some people, but nobody's done anything. And we have no action, the crosswalk that you guys voted on, what's happening with that? And the extra crossing guard, because now you got traffic coming from both ways into the school. I have a 7-year-old that is a first grader in that school. Sean's wife is a teacher at that school. She knows. The crossing guard will tell you how awful it is. And every day we watch people almost getting hit. I almost got T-boned a week ago in my car at that Davenport intersection because somebody came in thinking they didn't have to stop for that stop sign. So this is a big public safety issue. Nobody's enforcing when the construction starts in the morning. According to the city's agreement with us at Village at the Park, it was not supposed to be operational during school hours so that we had safety to get our kids to school. It does not happen. At 6:30 in the morning, you got construction going on. At 7 o'clock, you got construction and trucks coming on. When we're going to school, when kids are out of school, you've got construction and trucks going on. You have people parking wherever they want. And you have cars trying to go around these gigantic trucks, and then there's a kid on a bike. What's it going to take to put the stop sign at Davenport, please? Now, I am hoping that someone on TV is watching this Village at the Park thing and will follow in my footsteps and follow this through and make you guys accountable for everything that you agreed you would do in the lawsuit. So I'm sure hoping that someone will step up and do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Edie Santangelo.
Good evening. I'm Edie Santangelo, President of the Board of Directors of Studio Channel Islands Art Center. I'm here tonight to thank you, Mayor Kildee, and the members of the City Council for your support of the arts in Camarillo, and particularly for your support of Studio Channel Islands' 2019 Arts Alive Festival. Last Saturday, we held the first day of that arts festival. It was a successful event, drawing many members of the community to our campus and a couple of City Council members. Many visitors were thrilled with the current gallery show, The Illusionists. Curated by Michael Pierce of California Lutheran University, this exhibit is a collection of artworks, including bronzes, from world-renowned artists. It's the caliber of exhibit that most people would travel to LA to see. And it is here, in your backyard, in Old Town Camarillo, until May 18th, and it's free to the public. Other visitors last Saturday brought their kids to enjoy mural painting, chalk art, and other art activities. Some came to enjoy the many musicians who entertained in the gallery and on our campus. Other visitors ventured beyond the gallery to visit our 40 professional artist studios who are housed in the repurposed classrooms on our campus, as well as the many members who joined us on that day for our event. It was an opportunity to explore studios, to meet artists, and to learn more about their work. The City Council's support of the 2019 Arts Alive Festival allows us to provide this event free of charge to our community. It also reinforces the power of art to enrich lives, to create community, and contribute to the robust growth of Old Town Camarillo. Please join us on Saturday, June 1st, for the second day of Arts Alive, and know that you have my heartfelt thanks. Thank
Barbara Williams? Again, 3 minutes if you would, please.
I sent you an email earlier today addressing my concerns about the development of Camarillo Springs Golf Course. A realtor friend told me that during a meeting at the Boys and Girls Club, a representative from the developer told them approval of the flood plans by FEMA was imminent. Once approved, they planned to break ground. The woman also indicated the EIR is done, which surprised me. I previously pointed out the county expects you to protect the wildlife corridor that runs through Camarillo Springs Golf Course. If you allow them to build the homes and create berms along Ridgeview, that will block access from Canal Mountain and the western Santa Monica Mountains to Canal Creek, forcing them onto the residential streets. If staff is working with NUI behind the scenes and giving them the impression that they will be allowed to develop the golf course, then your power is being taken away. There is a process in place to ensure the public is heard and you consider all sides of the issues before making your decisions. Enforce that process. If city council members are meeting with NUI or the representatives behind closed doors or outside an open council meeting, then you're violating the trust of the people. The council approved the referral with conditions, and so far those conditions have not been met. 1, NUI has not provided any data addressing the viability of anything less than 18 holes for a golf course. 2, NUI has not provided information during a council meeting showing plans to address the floodplain issue. As you all will remember, I pointed out that the modeling they did was invalid since they did not use actual data. Based on the lack of the requested data, the referral should be rescinded, and they need to provide detailed, quantifiable data as to why the city should even consider rezoning the golf course to allow homes. There are so many reasons why it should not be developed. Traffic, potential dispersal of carcinogens into the air when they're grading, and impacts to wildlife and protected species, for example, Canadian geese and mountain lions. Richard's bought a golf course, and he does not have a right to do anything other than keep it a golf course. He has done nasty things in other communities to force cities to cave into his demands. Don't fall for it, or you will be cleaning up his mess. I went to the Camarillo Ranch Foundation meeting last night. It was business as usual. No discussion on how to get out of the red. They seemed to be in denial. They were given a summary of the proposed budget for next year. Only the Finance Committee sees the details for each item in the summary. They're expecting less weddings next year. They have done nothing to find out if their charges are reasonable based on other venues. How can a board pass a budget if they don't understand the basis for the budget? Mr. Devlin was rude to Mrs. Craven when she was trying to point out he was incorrect on an item. They voted to be closed on Tuesdays unless a school tour is scheduled because their staff is spread thin, and agreed the city does not need to approve it. They had a retreat in the Camarillo house and left a mess in the kitchen. Like anyone else using the house, they need to clean up their mess. As such, tours the next day had to bypass the kitchen. They're still using future wedding deposits for existing expenses, which is just a Ponzi scheme. No plans to fix problems and make things better. The CRF needs to be abolished immediately.
Excuse me. Could I ask you, I'm sorry, could I ask you to read your very first sentence?
For which one?
The first thing you said when you got up, starting with 3 minutes.
I sent you an email earlier today addressing my concerns about the development of Camarillo Springs Golf Course.
Next
and I went into detail what I'd heard.
One more sentence.
A realtor friend told me that during a meeting at the Boys and Girls Club, a representative from the developer told them approval of the flood plans by FEMA was imminent.
I guess that was the third one. I'm trying to get a question, but I'm trying to find out what you said.
Okay.
I want exactly what you said.
Once approved, they plan to break ground.
Okay.
I know that's not true.
I have a question for staff based on what you said, because I wasn't at a Boys and Girls Club meeting, so I'm going by what you said.
They're caravans that they do.
Okay. What is going to happen? They're doing the EIR, and then it comes back to us before anything is done. Is that true? Is that the process, I guess is what I should be saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so it's going to come back to the city council before any action is going to be taken out there?
Before any entitlements could ever be approved, they would have to have a certified EIR,
Thank you.
and that must be reviewed by the city council,
Okay,
correct?
thank you.
You want to follow up on?
Yeah, I want to follow up. And I think I'm entitled to ask a question of the staff in terms of what is the status of any, if anything, or what is your knowledge as to the status of any approval of flood plans by FEMA?
So we do know that NUI has submitted a request for a conditional letter of map revision, a CLOMAR. They're in the CLOMAR process with a submittal to FEMA. And that is based on their hydrology and hydraulic calculations and review, which has included a review that's still in process with Watershed Protection District. So the ultimate approval of doing anything out there that affects the flood zone has to come from FEMA. So they are moving forward with that initial process of their hydrology, hydraulic studies, and submitting that information for review.
Well, just as a brief follow-up question, do we have any sense of what the timing of that is in terms of the conditional LOMR?
No.
Yeah.
FEMA does have review requirements when a submittal comes in within 90 days, and typically it takes 89 and a half to 90 days to get a response out of FEMA on that, and often it's for additional response and required. So the process through FEMA is typically not speedy.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Okay, Matt Lorimer. 3 minutes, please.
Let the record reflect that I've given City Council, the City Attorney, City Manager, and the City Clerk a copy of the Camarillo Ranch agenda and also a document from Business Review, Martin Chun. You know, before I begin, let me just say this. A role of a councilman is to make policymakers, set goals, community relations, and you know something? Whether you have friends on the ranch board, it's tough to make decisions, but they need to be made. I'm going to give you my experience yesterday. In front of you, you do have the agenda. So, you know Mr. Charles Devon, he's the one that showed up at the ad hoc committee, and when he was asked how many employees, I don't know. How much money and preservation costs, I don't know. So, that being said, when you go to a meeting and he looks at you, and I was the person, and if we have people, my mother told me, that's what he said, quote, you know, when people wear hats and they come to meetings and they don't know what they're talking about, you know, that's a swipe at me. I don't appreciate it. And you know something? His conduct as president is unacceptable. The next thing I want to talk about, the city had an attorney there, Kane, talking about the Brown Act. It's not listed on the documentation as you see. Also, you're going to read public comments regarding items not on the agenda. Question. So let's go to item A, where it says unfinished business. And it says here, addition to modifications to the bylaws approved by City Council. Mr. Devon, this is the third time he's been disrespectful to a councilman, Ms. Craven. I'm going to tell you something. The first time was when I went, why are you talking to the Acorn? What are you guys doing? Sean, you, what are you guys doing? Okay. The next time, Ms. Craven wasn't there. They referred to her as Lazy Craven. I don't appreciate it. The third time I showed this meeting, she asked a question and he got belligerent and talked to her like a 2-year-old. You know something? This is supposed to be an educational bound. I don't like it. It's disrespectful. It's been going on too long. This board is out of control. Regarding to the closed public session, do you know that they're closing the ranch on Tuesdays? No public input. How does that work? This is a city-owned property. The public paid for it, and now this board has decided this is the same board that doesn't pay rent, it's lost $500,000, and continues to be rogue. It's time to shut it down. Okay? You have responsibility. I don't see anything good going to go on. You got to hold people accountable. And by the way, here's Martin Shun. 2 years ago, he did a presentation. You have a sheet there. It's not the same stuff, but he presented it, and he said, hey, we need to do some changes. You know, after the meeting, they said, hey, Martin, thanks for sharing with us. You know, you did that 2 years ago. Discount him. He's a good guy. He's in the wrong team because they don't care. They've shown no progress. Nothing on this report says they can figure out, have a game plan or nothing. It's about time you hold people accountable. Close it down. Find another nonprofit. They need to pay rent. You need to have rules. Thank you.
Lorena Sarwatari.
I do have some papers that I would like to share with Mr. Baca. I'm sorry, city manager, I always forget when I count everyone. So maybe next time I will bring you one, or I can send one, or email you something.
Pull the mic down.
You want to move, Lorraine, could you move the microphone
Yes.
down, please? Thank you so
Sorry.
much.
So here I am with the semi-story, 5G. from the bad news. 5G and other sources of EMF radiation are the new smoking. EMFs are the new smoking. Don't believe it? For decades, a group of cigarette companies referred to as Big Tobacco financed bogus scientific studies claiming smoking was perfectly safe. This tricked doctors, scientists, politicians, and smokers into a false sense of security. There were early warning signs that smoking was dangerous, but it took 50 years for the government to finally take action. Today, we're facing a new, bigger health threat, EMF, the radiation emitted by cell phones with routers and Bluetooth devices, just to name a few, and, of course, 5G. Even if many doctors, politicians, and big wireless companies still claim that EMFs are perfectly safe, the early warning signs could not be clearer. And now, let me tell you 5 scientific facts providing EMFs are not safe. Many leading EMS scientists say EMS should be classified as class 1, not class 2 carcinogen, just like smoking and asbestos. Number 2, the best functional medicine doctors in the world, like Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, have observed the EMS are the very root cause of many mysterious symptoms, including insomnia, fatigue, depression, digestive issues, and cancer. And one of the leading ones, Alzheimer's disease. New technologies like the 5G, 5th generation networks are being rolled out at a frantic pace while exactly 0 biological studies prove their safety. MS safety standards haven't been updated since 1996 and are based on short-term exposure, not to one device. And we're going to be exposed to all the time 24/7 with the 5G. Growing children's brains are especially at risk as their heads absorbs twice the radiation compared to adults. Regarding of the fact, a 2014 survey showed that up to 75% of 4-year-old children possess their own cell phones. And quitting smoking is doable. But what about secondhand EMF pollution? You could choose not to smoke or even avoid secondhand smoking, but secondhand EMF radiation is literally everywhere. Thank you. And please, I give you some papers. I hope that you can take some time to read them. And I give you a little fact sheet about checking the radiation that you are exposed every single day just using your cell phones. Please check it. Thank you.
Okay. Brian Rubin.
Honorable Mayor Kildee, Vice Mayor Tremblay, and council members. I moved to Camarillo 2.5 months ago, and I live in Leisure Village. And I may not be able to attend the 4th meeting for redistricting, so I'd like to address some things tonight, if you don't mind. I submitted a plan today, and it was really a revision to map 109. I know that the city council from the 3rd meeting appeared to like 109 and also 110, with a little more liking of 109. Unfortunately, 109 splits Leisure Village into 2 parts. It takes 3 of the villages, 16, 18, and 20, which are part of the population center 64, and has that in the District 5, while the rest of Leisure Village is in District 4. I first proposed splitting one of those districts in half, but that can't be done, splitting one of those population areas in half. So there's a swap. I looked at 110, and there's almost no difference between 4 and 5 in 110, which is by the demographers, and 109, except that District 64 was in, the population center 64 was in District 4, and the population 86 was in District 5. And if you swap those two, you get all of, if you use the 4 and 5 section of the demographers map and you appear to like 1, 2, and 3, you appear like the west side of the tracks set up with 109, then 110. That would put all of Leisure Village in one district. And would also, the map 109 has an 8.91% population variance. But switching 64 and 86 would knock that down to just under 7%. So it would improve the discrepancy by 2% and keep all of Leisure Village together. So as you look at that, I think it allows you to keep your 109 while keeping Leisure Village together. So I hope you consider that at your meeting if I don't make it on the, I believe it's the 22nd, right? Thank you very much.
Do not have any more blue cards? Would anybody else like to address the council, a non-agenda item? Mr. Tremblay, did you have a question or a follow-up on that?
I actually did, and I don't know if this is out of protocol, Mr. Mayor, but I had a question for staff related to a matter posed by a prior public speaker. May I go ahead and do that?
Proceed, please.
It was Ms. Beck's comment with regard to Village at the Park, and specifically, can we hear from staff on the status of the crosswalk and school guard? This is my question to staff. Sorry. What is the status of that matter with respect to the establishment of the crosswalk and the crossing guard? And then I have a second question, but I'll hold that for a second.
So as you recall, City Council did approve the establishment of a new crosswalk. I'm drawing a blank on the street name on Village at the Park, just west of the school.
Right. Right.
Yes,
Correct.
and we're going to wait for school to be out. We have a contractor on board that's going to install the new curb ramp and stripe the crosswalk, and that'll occur in summertime while school's out. We wanted to wait till school traffic is gone for that construction of the curb ramp for the access and the creating this crosswalk. So it will be in place before the start of the school year. And then the school district is going to be moving forward with establishing manning a crossing guard there.
Are you, as a follow-up, are you anticipating, or as the school district indicated, whether or not that crossing guard would also be in place for the next school year starting in at the end of August?
Haven't heard definite confirmation on that, but that was the concept in discussion with the school district as we went forward with proposing the new crosswalk.
Okay.
So we can follow up with the school district on that.
Okay.
One question I have for you guys on that.
Well, we really can't get into any dialogue here. We can certainly write your question down and we can address it at another time, but my understanding is we really can't get into too much of a dialogue here. Yeah.
Thank you. That
Okay.
answers my question on those two items.